right, at 6:04 on Monday, March 17th, call to order the Special Committee for Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. As we get started, we'll do a roll call, so please state your name and present. We'll start all the way down to the left, please. Start with you, Em.
I'm in there.
David Wales, present.
Tanisha Taylor, present.
Mike Holwerda, present.
Elizabeth Horton, present.
It looks like Daniel Morton and Elizabeth Horton are absent tonight.
Elizabeth Horton is present.
Oh, sorry, David, or
Daniel.
Daniel, yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Been a long day. All right. All right, we, first order of business is to approve the February minutes. Do we have a motion to approve February minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second?
I second.
I second.
All right, all in favor of approving the February minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed with the same response? All right, that was better. Okay. Got a few things on our agenda tonight. I don't see anyone else in the audience for participation, so I think the first thing, welcome Police Chief Thomas Mason. Thanks for making the time. I think we had talked as a committee back in February. We were revisiting the strategic document plan that was put together maybe, I think probably 3 years ago now, and just talking through one of the goals is how do we monitor or survey or kind of assess the relationship between police and fire with our community, and what would be markers that things are going well, what would be space to have dialogue. I think we tried to form a couple years ago and it was maybe a little bit hit or miss. So wanted to invite you just to kind of have a dialogue with you and how you maybe perceive the community-police relationship, potentially talk through some sort of survey that we'd make available that we could kind of coordinate together what it would look like to have at kind of the big open house in October, even just for people, just getting real-time feedback from residents on, but figuring out, hey, what are the right questions to ask? How do we do this in an encouraging way? People don't love surveys, right? So how do you actually put together a meaningful survey that people would actually want to participate? It would help you guys, it would help our committee. So yes, thanks for making some time. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Sure. I mean, it's and I wasn't provided any type of agenda, so I really don't have any specific answers, nor am I going to speculate on anything for you.
Yeah.
I've been to various meetings throughout the years, and as I've said before, the agenda seemed to be all over the place. There was really no clear, concise path or anything that I saw for what anybody in the committee really wanted to do.
Yeah.
That being said, I understand this is a new committee, and I appreciate that, and I look forward to hearing what it is you have in store, what kind of ideas you have, and you just mentioned something now. As far as our department's interaction with the community, how you monitor that, yeah, I mean, I'd be open to looking at some type of a survey. We have a little bit of time. Like you said, the open house is a big event. We can start pushing it then. So definitely can look into that, find out what the best way to do that is. 20 plus years ago, it was probably 25 years ago, we did a community survey, and back then it was hand delivered to residents in mailboxes, things like that. Now times have changed with online QR codes, all that stuff. So there's a lot of possibility. The city has gotten a lot more tech savvy. We have a lot more people involved. So I'm sure we can put together something that's relevant and current and up to date. Gets, as you put it, some real time feedback, which would be good.
Yeah.
We need a little bit of time to put together what type of questions are relevant.
Yeah.
I personally feel that the department has a great relationship with the community, both police and fire.
Yeah.
I really do. I've been here over 30 years, and I've seen nothing but a very great cohesive relationship between all the departments, the city service, police, fire, parks, rec, all the city services and the residents here. How you gauge that?
Yeah.
I think the survey's one way. Open to other ideas, maybe explore what other communities do.
Yeah.
But the fact that we get a lot of positive feedback, we don't get a lot of negative feedback, I think is very telling. So again, I'm open to that, whatever ideas you have. I look forward to what's come out of the committee. Again, not having a agenda, I didn't really have anything prepared, so I don't know what else I can answer for you.
No, that's great. Other questions from the committee for?
Is there any way to get the questions that were asked like 25 years ago? Because that's a start, like just knowing what was asked, and then maybe we can come up with ideas, different questions.
I would have to dig. I would say we're probably better off just starting fresh, coming up with,
Fair enough.
some things that are more relevant to the time, because it probably was 25, maybe even longer.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe a question would be kind of your preference on the process, right? So it's like, would you prefer, hey, that, you would do some thinking, have some questions in mind, and then bring them to us? Or would you want us to maybe brainstorm some questions?
I think a collaboration.
Yeah,
I think a
great.
collaboration. I think, let me go back to my department, my administrators, my officers.
Yeah.
Let me see what they feel would be a good relevant question as well.
Yeah.
I definitely will have some ideas of my own, as I'm sure the other admin will.
Yeah.
So I think a collaboration would be best.
Yeah.
Both come to the table with a list and see what we like, don't like, strike some things,
Yeah, that's great.
and combine something, yeah.
And I think we'll have, enough time to prepare to have it at the next event. And I was thinking, when we're looking at the questions, not just questions that are just, yes or no, we feel good about it, but let's try to maybe create something where we can have the community become creative and like things to do. And then maybe with that QR code, because I think we were talking about that before, we can have a QR code to that survey, but something to gear, like, a contest maybe with the community, like an ideal far as what we could do as a community to increase awareness, or what topic, or think of something. Because I think when sometimes you just do the ratings or the check the box, it becomes vague. But if we really want to see some type of change and get people thinking, maybe one of those questions could be something like, come up with an ideal, or, to create the synergy around making some changes. So, and then also making it more interesting than it's just, another check the box, yes,
Sure.
everything is good.
Sure, I agree. And if somebody's really into it and wants their voice heard, then we will give them an opportunity to have some input into that survey, some suggestions, ideas, things like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
may I add to this? I think it's a great idea to put out a survey, but I guess my question is, why are we just stopping at the police department? We have many departments that touch the community, not only police, but fire, EMS, service, recreation. If we're going to put out a survey, maybe you should include a little bit of everybody and not just, pinpoint one certain department. Unless you're aware of, an issue that's out there, or, something that's going on. I would think that it would be more beneficial to include them all.
Yeah.
And, give us that feedback. That would be very helpful for everything.
Oh, that's a great idea, and we can kind of section it off, like, this is the survey for public safety, this is the, for recs, and then have questions to go under each of those sections.
Department, and those people in front of your households just about every day. They're throughout the community, so wastewater's out there as well. They're out there cleaning stores, and there are things, we get a lot of house calls for the wastewater plant. So I think that it would behoove us all.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, it'd be a good opportunity, because if we're going to try and capture some of their attention, some of their time, might as well get the most out of it. Sure, yeah, great idea.
When this was talked about before, my understanding, at least what I took from it, was that it would be more of a community survey, and that we could ask questions like, what type of events, is the community looking for, like, how do they like to receive their communication? things like that. So I think it would be really helpful to ask, like some broad questions, like how do you get your information? What would you like to see as far as things like community events and whatnot?
Yeah, I think I'm even looking at the objective. It was also like a time for the police department to do some educating, right? So you could even like have questions on there that like, hey, did you know, residents, this is what our police department does, or did you know, or this is how our fire department works, or like it seems like the survey could be like a both ways. Like you're actually helping our residents understand a little bit more of the scope, and then the residents can also provide feedback that go like a two-way street, if that makes sense, which could be good.
I think the collaboration, as you mentioned.
Yep.
Even maybe both sides come up with a question or two that you could throw out there.
Well,
Tammy, she could take it, one of the staff meetings, put out to the other department.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely time after 25 plus years to get the opinions of the community.
Yeah, and even to think through what is like, this isn't coming from a place of like, oh, we think something, from a negative place of like,
Right.
oh, we need to assess more so of what is a healthy rhythm, or like that we would say as a committee would be healthy, is it once every, it's not once every 25 years, so, maybe is it once every 5 years, once every 3 years, like figuring out a rhythm that makes sense.
Sure.
Actually is helpful.
Yeah, you could incorporate all that, yeah, for sure.
And then just, we were thinking about to increase the engagement, people are liking to receive things. So I think if we had, your name was entered into a drawing for, maybe one of our lovely T-shirts or, something to encourage,
We can dream a little
people.
bigger than that, can't we? Can do more than that.
I know, we're just starting somewhere, we can have a couple, first place, second place, third, but I think something to just
Free
get some.
Twinsburg pool membership.
Oh, my gosh.
But then I guess we would have to get the other committees, and y'all see, I was trying to, start, a little down here with
You
our
got me
T-shirts.
started. That's your right.
But again, with these surveys and different things, if we create something like this, we want to create the engagement so that people want to complete them. And I think, at this time, raffles and prizes kind of drive people to complete and do that. So I think we kind of, between the different committees or the different groups, maybe the groups can, from the different departments, say they would provide, okay, this is from the waste department, or this is from the police department, or whatever. So I think if everyone kind of, as you said, collaborate on that, we can get more synergy around people completing them and making it a fun event.
But we have to have the winners come to an event to pick them up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they could pick
Because
them
we gotta
up here
take
at the office sometime, like,
Well, we can come to a meeting.
Or come to a meeting.
We can
Yeah.
come to a meeting and pick up.
Get a nice picture of your winnings.
Yeah,
Sure,
I like it.
right.
absolutely.
That's not a bad idea, given the pool pass away, and your night also at the golf course.
Something that,
Yeah, and if you, we gave you guys a table, you had a presence at the open house last year. Now that, excuse me, that's geared towards a more specific, it's a family-oriented event, a lot of little kids, but little kids have parents. So you do get a lot of, older residents, a parent who do show. So that would be one opportunity there, as well as anything else you do. And I think that that could kind of maybe be the culmination of it, start pushing it before then and, culminate around that date and yeah, incorporate the winners after that, have them attend a meeting, those things. So yeah, some good ideas.
I have something to say about, was it a month or two ago, Sam, that we went to the fire department and we looked at this fire truck that we got from, was it Macedonia or Northfield?
No, it was out from Wisconsin, I think, somewhere where it's made,
Yeah,
and we had to send it over there for equipment.
Right.
right. And I wanted to ride that You know, that fire truck, you know, when it pulled in, it didn't have all the bells and whistles on it. And you just don't know. I just wanted to run on that train like I was 4 years old and jump up on those steps and go for a ride. Of course, they didn't do that, but that's like one of my dreams, is to ride a fire truck. And
You know what? You fill out the survey in October, maybe you'll make that dream come
you
true.
know, I will put it down and tape it too. But it's such a wonderful feeling when you see the city of Twinsburg with this fire truck, and they're willing to take people for a ride later on, not at the present time that we were there. And I think Sam would have enjoyed it too, because, you know, it was in the garage, and we kind of went up on some steps, but we didn't go into the truck. Sam said he did, but he didn't take me in the truck.
You have to be nicer to Steve. That's,
But it was nice to see something like that coming to the city of Twinsburg, knowing that we could use that as an object to get people together, take them for a ride, take the kids for a ride. And one thing I'll tell you, if the kids go for a ride, I'm going to be a kid that day too and go for a ride. That's all I have to say.
Unfortunately, I'm not sure that our insurance allows. Mayor's Director of Public Safety.
Insurance, yeah.
We'll do something.
Sorry to be Debbie Downer, but
Tammy,
Yes.
what would be the process, like just narrowing down like a raffle prize like that? Like, what would we need to do, or how do we?
I can bring it up at the staff meeting.
Okay.
I know, and maybe the chief can address this, if you have a procedure to do police ride-alongs, I think that has to be adults.
Well, it's typically someone who's in our hiring process.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think, and I don't mean to interrupt.
No,
You know, I think you're on the right track. We want people to willingly participate. You know, this is their opportunity to have some say or express their opinion, through this survey. Sure, I think offering some prizes may help encourage, entice some people, create a little buzz, get some involvement. I think you've ample opportunity, ample outlets to push it through social media between the city, the police department has their own, the FD has their own, Parks, right? There's ample opportunity, a lot of outlets to push this out. I think you need to set a timeline to get these questions going, because these things take time. Open house isn't until fall,
Yeah.
but if we're looking at the culmination of the survey by then, or if you're looking to kick it off by then, either way, it's really not that far away.
Yeah.
So I think the sooner we can start, the better. I think
Yeah.
your committee needs to put together what they feel are good, relevant questions. We can do the same. Mayor, we can talk about it in a staff meeting. We can, let, if this does get the green light, let each department know. They can do the same thing. So the important thing is, for me, it's going to be easier than it will be for you, because I'm going to go back to my department. We're going to talk about questions that we think are relative to the community regarding law enforcement.
Yeah.
Chief Bosso can do the same with the fire department. Jen can do the same through Parks and Rec. You guys have to come up with kind of a, wide variety of questions regarding all the city departments and services. And it doesn't have to get that detail specific as to what every department does. Some of them can generally apply to all departments. But again, there's going to be some homework on both sides.
Yeah.
And I think the sooner we start on that, the better, because what happens is there's a lot of good ideas thrown around, there's a lot of talk, and then it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
If this is something that everybody agrees is a good idea, and again, we get the authorization to do so, then I think we need to move on it. We can figure out what the prizes will be a little later. But, we don't want that to be the sole motivation. We want residents to actively participate in this because they want to. So, it's just my opinion, but I think the sooner we get going on it, the
Yeah.
better.
I mean, especially we break for June and July, so it seems like maybe as a committee we can brainstorm in April, and then we can maybe come together in May and get some things finalized. That seems reasonable. Unless someone has a different idea.
I think that sounds good.
Okay. April brainstorm. May finalize. October Daisy on a fire truck. Well, really appreciate your time and
Yeah,
to come here and collaborate.
Sure,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Any other questions? All right, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
All right, I think the next item on our list is our first ever event that we are coordinating, Diversity Day 2025. I am ready for all of your wonderful ideas and brainstorming that I know you've all stayed up late thinking about the last 6 weeks. So thoughts, ideas. We had talked about doing something this summer. We had connected some dates. If I can find my notes.
I think we had a date.
I think we were going to hear back, weren't we, from
Like the 28th, July 12th, the 19th.
yeah, there's a lot of.
It says Diversity Day, June 28th was picked as a tentative date at the community center and Glenn Chamberlain Park. The backup days were July 12th and July 19th.
The date will be confirmed at the next Jedi meeting, which would be today. All right.
I know we talked about the cricket game at the Diversity Day, or introducing that. I remember us speaking about that, which
Yeah.
I think is a good idea because I've never played it. I did a little research on my own. It seems to be pretty fun.
Pretty fun.
Yeah.
I've never played cricket.
I had
couldn't
never
tell you
heard
how to
of it
play.
until this. So,
It needs to, you need to run a lot. Are you open to running?
I don't have a problem running.
Within reason, yeah. Within reason. Yeah, it seemed like we had tossed around different ideas, but it seemed like keeping something informal, something that would bring families together, right? You know, I was at the, it wasn't called this, but it was like the Frog Festival that was at the community center on Saturday. There's just bunches of parents and families and kids there, which was great. So I think if we want more engagement, wanting to include kids, include students will be a huge win. So I was thinking of something we could call like the Diversity Play Day, where we bring in donuts, bring in coffee, if budget allows, and have games like cricket or kickball and playground, and just like intentionally connecting families together, kids that, you know, just like make it about relationship, make it about bringing people together of, hey, meet someone you might not necessarily meet otherwise, build relationships you might not build otherwise. So that's kind of where my mind was going, of just like keeping it family focused, fun. You know, I think we talked about food being like an option, but I think I was thinking more maybe relationship is the more of the priority, but interested in your guys' thoughts or ideas.
So I'm trying to recall from last meeting, are we the responsible party for doing this event? Or was the other, what was it, the Park and Recs, are they planning something, or they're just like facilitating dates and locations?
They will facilitate. This will be your event.
Okay, okay.
You'll come up with the vision, the activities, and then we'll help facilitate.
I know we talked about maybe about the food, but would there be room for like food trucks? I know there are food trucks around that maybe we can get out. I don't know if that costs money for them to come out, since they would potentially be making money, but
I think you still, I know for Rockland Park, we pay for them.
oh, you pay for them. Okay.
And, or maybe they require a minimum sales.
Ah, okay.
We could check that out
Okay.
with Rockland Park and see.
And they would still have to get permits, right?
Yeah, they would have to get permits, they'd have to get this screened through the fire department for the truck itself for cleanliness, safety, so on and so forth. So
Are there any breakfast food trucks
Probably.
for doing the morning?
they have a breakfast food truck.
I don't know.
Asking.
I don't know.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised to that.
Good idea.
Yeah, it is.
Just a thought, I mean, if this is something we're going to put on, why don't you seek some sort of sponsorship? And if it's going to be Diversity Day, why don't you go to some of the different restaurants, different ethnicities, and see if they would be an opportunity for them to promote themselves and maybe bring samples?
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean, you could have foods from all different cultures represented. Doesn't necessarily mean they have to be in town, although there's some diverse restaurants here in town, but I would
Yeah.
approach them, see if they want to be a part of it, if they want to be a sponsor.
Okay.
Put their name out there and get them to bring maybe samples. And
Absolutely.
that way you tie it with the diversity,
Yeah.
different types of food.
We did talk about that a little bit at the last meeting, like if they could, like if people could like purchase tickets and you could drop a ticket for a sample or something like that.
It would be an opportunity for them to promote themselves while supporting you and less money out of general fund.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe if we can have also like a world map and have little pins for everybody to kind of place a pin on, you know, where they are from. I think that would be a really fun, you know, a fun activity for people. Yep. I don't know where we'll get the map from, but, you know, maybe
Good
thinking
question.
of something, you know, that isn't as expensive or,
Yeah.
you know, doesn't take too much to think about, but it's still fun for everybody to identify where on the map, you know, they're from or their families are from.
Give us a cool picture of who's there, right? Even like a reflection of Twinsburg, right?
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
or Twinsburg.
Following years. This year we had this many nations represented.
Yeah.
The goal is to exceed that next year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, good idea.
Other thoughts? I wonder if if we would do cricket or if we would do kickball, is it Marine Park? Is that the one that's where we had the?
Maureen Park, that's off of Bell Meadow.
Yeah, right, yeah. Does park that's listed here, does that have like kickball and space for cricket? Glenn Chamberlain?
Which park is that?
Yeah. So that one's probably a bigger
Yeah,
park.
legend, we do baseball fields there, yeah.
They do, yeah. I can't place Glenn Chamberlain.
I don't know if you would take for cricket, but you probably use the Rocket Park, you know, stadium. That you got plenty of grass there.
Plenty of grass there, yeah.
If you've ever been to Rocket Park where the stage is.
Over there, no, I'm sorry.
You gotta be careful with baseball fields for like kickball. You wanna use one of those because those are used for the summer leagues. So you have to coordinate that with Parks and Rec because she does the scheduling for TVL and all that stuff. So, I know we've got, everybody's turning in their positions right now.
Yeah.
Schedules, so.
Maybe,
Necessarily have to have it on a baseball field.
Yeah,
It's got a bunch of grass.
yeah, that's true, yeah.
maybe some craft stations with artists, or I know a lot of people that I know like henna. So just having, you know, arts and crafts, you know, that kind of signify people's culture as well would be a good idea.
So there is a lot of planning, because this is from the last meeting, I thought we were like coordinating with the other group, not that it was just because it's already going into end of March or mid-March. And so far as marketing, far as getting this out to the community, we kind of have some things that we need to start planning like soon.
Yes, once you have a plan, we can help with the marketing, but, we'll need to know what supplies, what vendors, like how many tables to set up.
Yeah, I think that's the space between what is a good idea and what's realistic is probably the important thing to decide on right now, because I think if I'm understanding right, we would be the ones to pull it off.
Pull this off.
Yeah. So-
Did you want to decide on a date first so that I can coordinate that with Parks and Rec?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I would push off later, just because later is going to be our friend in terms of promotion
Yes.
and timing to actually do these things. So June 28th seems a little bit quick. I think I would suggest that we push to later to July.
I agree. And then, just come with a couple key things that we're going to do so that we can, and again, because of time, because it takes a lot to put these events on and it's a small group of individuals, is that we maybe just for our first one, focus on maybe 2 to 3 things that we can solidly support and come together in agreement. Like we're going to definitely have this, and that, and that's it. And then work as an organized group because if we're talking about food trucks, if we're talking about other stations and things, now we got to get commitments from these other people to be there. So I think maybe we should do this in our next meeting for April to start getting like a brainstorming of exactly what 3 events we can have and how we're going to communicate and what people we're going to reach out to start doing that communication for that, whether it's, it was great ideas if we're going to have the world map, how are we going to create an event around that, what we're going to do for that, because that's a wonderful ideal. I love that one. And then if we're, doing the samples with the different vendors in the community, we need to assign who's going to be reaching out, who's going to be setting up, to get the agreement as far as them attending. And then the last piece is getting the word out to the community and the people to attend.
I'm trying to think what are the essentials that would draw someone out, and what are the things that would be nice but wouldn't actually determine if people would come or not.
Correct.
Is there a fee for the vendors? Do they pay the group? Or just say, we went to B&M's. They have the best ribs and barbecue on this side of the earth. It is so good. And, you just made me think about him when you're talking about food, because, I like ribs, but I may eat this much of it, and that's all, because I don't eat a lot of pork or barbecue sauce. But, when we went there, they just had a lot of good things in the store. Not only ribs, they had hot dogs and pulled pork, and they had all the foods that I look at and wish that I could eat it, but I can't because it looks so good. So, I'm just real picky about what I eat. I eat a lot of fish and chicken, and that's it. But this company, Beckham's, Beckham's on Broadway, they would be someone great that I know would come to this event and use their food and,
that's a good suggestion.
charge minimum for their foods. I could talk to them because my husband loves that place. So, if you want me to start off with Beckham's, I can, or hold off, whatever you want me to do.
I think that's a good idea, but I guess, did you also say that there were permits required? If so, maybe we could get a list of organizations or companies that already have gone through the process, just to get a start on some of the names we can reach out to.
It depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, whatever you want.
It's a whole different process. If you're looking just to have a sponsor, a local restaurant in town, it's a sponsor that's going to bring samples, that's quite different. My suggestion would be make a list. If you really want to get diverse, make a list of restaurants in the area with some diverse ethnic foods. Come up with that list, approach those people and see how realistic that is, and then you can figure out what it is you need. I'm not going to say you don't need any type of permitting for that, but I know it's a very different process than if you're going to have a food truck. Because food trucks require, well, the building department, fire department,
this is a lot.
there's all kinds of moving parts. Whereas if it's a local vendor, local restaurant, who's going to come with some hot plates, and it's very different.
Okay.
And I wonder if we do it in the morning, right? Like, we just, maybe just keep it simpler for the first year, like, that's where it's,
I think the first year being simple would be.
being very simple would be
And
would be
build.
preferable,
Yeah.
yeah.
And, I love food, but I guess I don't love food at the same time, because we kind of center everything around it. I know it's a good thing to bring people, but if we want to try to create that it's not just about what we eat, and I think I had kind of mentioned this at the other meeting, was like, can we bring other things that represent culture? There's more than just food. We want to kind of like, that's like the thing, it's a carnival, the food is always the main point. We can kind of go outside of the box, and what else is part of your culture that you want another person to know about that's different than just what we consume as food, whether that is your tradition around music or your tradition around a family thing. And if we put that out to the invitation, this is a time to bring your uniqueness of your culture and share that with the community, and not it just be a thing about what we're eating. Not saying that eating is not important and it's a bring along, but I think we miss the parts of understanding and learning about cultures, because it's just really just when we say culture or minority groups, we just go straight to the food. And I love what you were saying about let's make this a relationship event. So it's like, this is your opportunity to share with the community something that's special about your culture. And then that may create these tables or these things where a family says, I want a set community to know this is important, or this is what our culture does. And maybe that's how we bring the relationship piece. And then now that may attract more people, because now if that table is there, they're saying, hey, we're representing dance or we're representing the arts, and create that feel opposed to just eating. But that's just me.
Yeah, no, I think that's,
Find people that would do that?
Right, so that would take us, our connections, like we're all connected to groups. I would assume that, again, if we're saying building relationships, not just saying let's just send this as a post, but we now need to talk to groups that we're involved in. Who are you involved in to say, or even if it's your immediate family, we're starting this off as a first, so now we have to kind of go to the organic space of it, like who are you, what groups are you associated with, or what businesses, and maybe say, okay, hey, I know this is important to your culture. Let's get together and create this table. It may be your immediate inner circle, and then now that's how we can grow to say, wow, that was really neat last year, and then other cultures or other families like, oh, I would love to have my table next year to represent what's important or what I would like someone to know about me. And I love the part where you were saying the play, but just kind of how, like, who are we? How do we best explain who we are? And that comes from a place of the individual or the group of individuals coming and doing one thing that represents your culture. And then the map piece, I love the map, because then now that could be the identifier. If you're saying that you're from this part of the world, you can put your pin or your stamp. We had 10 different cultures, and then this is what we learned from that, opposed to we had just food and that's all I know is that this particular culture eats this. What else is important that we should know that really now makes us have an understanding of who people are, not just what they eat?
yeah, I think that, like, educating around culture would be a win. But that seems like it might pull us into more work for this first year, just in the sense of coordinating tables and, like, I'm just picturing like a Saturday morning I wake up and it's like, all right, what's going to bring me out to go somewhere different, right? And it's, well, do you have some good coffee? Maybe something to eat like donuts. And can I meet some people that I wouldn't necessarily meet beforehand, right? Like, and so maybe the learning of culture, we could prompt them with like, hey, people walk in, hey, this is an informal event. You know, we're just here to hang out, meet each other, but we do have some questions that, hey, why don't you be intentional with the conversation, you know? Your kids are playing, moms, you guys ask these questions, dads, you guys ask these questions, and maybe that would like draw out some of the culture education piece that maybe you're referring to.
And can somebody bring some wickets and we can play?
But I'm looking also, like if we're saying we're taking ownership of it, right here, we have a diversity just on our platform.
Yeah.
So even if we start with us, you know, I know we're talking about the different type of games that we play. So now it's like taking ownership, like, okay, what is up here on the platform? We're all of different, what can we come together, even if it just starts with us? And that wouldn't be a hard thing to drum up, because now we're like, what can I bring to the table as an African American of something, and get a group of those that are there and that represents the table in the small scale, opposed to how do we have to reach out and find all of these people. We can be a great example and start off with those that are here.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what would be the, you know, if we look at it numbers-wise, what would be a win? What would we look back and say, hey, this was a good first event? Like, it's not going to be 200 people, right? It's going to be probably
Yes.
8, 10, 12, 14 families maybe, you know, like to start, where we have 30 people, maybe 40 people that are gathered, right? And then it's like, so that's where I'm just picturing a pretty low-key Saturday morning.
I like your Saturday morning with the breakfast type thing, because it keeps
Just,
it.
come out, have some coffee, meet someone different from you.
Did you say Saturday morning?
Saturday morning, yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm still asleep.
We'll come pick you up.
I'll send my kids to your house, so.
You know, maybe like
Still wouldn't wake me up.
11 to 1 or something. Is that what you kind of thinking?
I was thinking like 9:30
9
to 11, you know, maybe 10 to 11:30, something like that.
Say 9:30.
I think 9:30 is too early.
Yeah, I think that's it. I'm thinking about maybe like the 11 to 1.
I
That's
think 11 to 1 is a great time,
because it
Yeah,
gives
this way
people a
I'll
chance
be
to
up
get
by
up.
morning and afternoon.
I'll be up by then.
Yeah.
And I know they're having that minority day at the high school as well, so I'm attending that, so that may also, you
Yeah,
know,
you can
connect
pick up some ideas from them.
Did you want to say something, Mayor?
Is that?
Okay, just wondering.
Or even if they have some groups there, you know, we can say, hey, you know,
Yeah.
this is another opportunity.
What
So
was that?
I don't know if it was the 21st.
They're already talking to a food truck vendor for your diversity day. Kind Tapas Foods. I guess tapas means like small
Yeah, small plates.
small foods. It's a young man that has this food truck, and I understand it's very good, so I know they're talking to him already. So they have started on food.
Okay, well, that's good.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Have a good night.
Okay, you too. See you tomorrow.
All right.
When is the
So maybe we
diversity day?
I think it's March 21st. No, is it this week? Is it March? Yeah, it's Friday. It's March 21st. It's Friday.
The high school?
You want to look at dates? I think that seems like if we're gonna.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
Well, I think Laura, the last time, when Laura was here at the last meeting, the June 28th date, I believe all these dates coincided with what was available, because like Mayor said, requests are coming in.
Yeah,
So we have to decide on a date,
okay.
Date and time.
a date and time.
I believe in us. We can do that.
Yes.
And location.
Date, time, location.
Right.
I mean, I think we go as far out as we can
I
at this
agree.
point.
19,
July 19th.
and then
We have to vote on that? Okay.
and time, we were.
And time.
11 to 1.
I thought you guys wanted to do earlier.
Yep.
I thought you guys wanted to do like
No.
7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for.
Early bird special.
You're the only one here.
Me and my kids will be there. We'll eat all the donuts, so.
I'll be snoring.
And that will just, you know, I think if we do it over a meal, that's going to be more cost. People are going to expect a lunch. If we
Yes.
don't do it over mealtime,
Yes.
then,
True, too.
so, you know, we could do like a, like a one, you could do later in the day, you could do like a 3 to 5.
Oh, that's,
bring-
no.
No, let's-
Ice cream.
Because
Yes,
people are doing other
Yeah,
stuff.
I would say
Ice cream,
11.
popsicles.
No, people are doing other stuff then,
All right.
11 to 1.
11 to 1.
Okay, it's like-
Yeah,
And if there's a little bit of food, then they can go get some, they can go
yeah.
somewhere
We're
else.
going to provide a lunch.
No,
Yeah, it's gonna be 2 hours. They're not gonna
Yeah.
eat that much, so, you know, I think 11 to 1 is a good time.
I agree.
Now,
I would agree if we have a plan for lunch.
well, he just said.
Well,
that
he
we're
said
talking
we-
Oh,
to-
tapas? Okay. All right. All right.
I don't think we need to have multiple. We have one
Yeah.
company dedicated to
I think that would
do
be
that.
great.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Right.
Because like you said, there probably won't be as many families there, so it's not like it'll be a long line to have multiple food stations. Right, so,
All right. So July 19th, 11 to 1. Do we like the name? Is the name clear enough, or is it still ambiguous?
what name did you come up with?
We have Diversity Day or Diversity Play Day. We could brainstorm another name as well. Those are the two things that we have so far.
Do we have to pick the name today? You want to think about
I
it?
think we can think about it.
Yeah, let's think about and come up with something that.
Family diversity,
I just think if
something like that.
that'll push things back a month
For the
We
day?
won't.
for the promotion.
Well, we still have to come together for April to like really fine tune.
Finalize.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
would say
Yeah.
that gives us time to think about a name, but let's definitely do the date, so that Parks and Rec can agree to that. And then the details and maybe the name and stuff, we'll have time to think about what we want to call that day that'll be attractive to, the engagement.
well, the word family needs to be in there, so it can
Absolutely.
either be before or after diversity. So,
Like Family Diversity Day.
yeah, or Diversity Family Day.
Sorry, did you want Chamberlain Park? Was that?
I just can't
There's
picture that right now.
more-
Maybe I'm just confusing
There's
you with
more
another park.
room.
Yeah.
Back where Twinsburg is, behind the high school,
Okay.
that's one change.
Okay, because that's why, I think before we was talking about just in case of the weather, we had the community center and the
Right.
park. That's,
Oh,
I
right
think-
there? Yeah, okay.
Yes. So I think it was like a combination.
Right, yeah, right.
I texted Jen Bettinson. I don't know if she'll get it tonight or not, but.
All right, 19th, Glenn Chamberlain.
But I agree with you. I think the family part should
Yes.
be in there,
Mhm.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the family.
Diversity Family Play Day. Does not have a great ring to it yet. I believe in us, though. We can.
Yeah, that can be changed. I like family diversity better.
I do too, family diversity
Yeah,
day. We have to emphasize that it is a diversity day.
Right.
yeah,
I don't think we should put anything in between diversity and day.
right, okay.
Yep. I like the family
And
diversity.
we want families, definitely. Yeah. Do we need a motion? Okay. I move that we call this Family Diversity Day on July 19th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Glen Chamberlain Park in Twinsburg, Ohio, 44807.
I second the emotion.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed with the same response? Well, look at us, making things happen.
All right.
Look at you.
And so this gives us time to, brainstorm within ourselves on the panel here, as far as, what we would want to bring to the table if we have family, if we have friends, if we have connections, that we can reach out to say, hey, this is what we're doing, come support us. is it something that we can support someone else? You know, I would just had start thinking about people that I know that write books or different things that would be a day for them to be able to introduce, you know, reading literacy, or that's a part of a culture thing of storytelling. So we just need to kind of come up with some things within ourselves too, and people that we know that we can get them to come and be a part.
I think that's a great idea. My sister writes books, and she has her own business, so she would be excited to come.
I think that is a good, I have a friend who has her name is actually Herbrina, and she has a children's book about, you know, about your name. And so there's lots of us who have, you know, names that you cannot pronounce, or, you know, and just making kids especially aware to be bold when you are correcting people with your name. So I think I know somebody who writes books too, children books.
All right.
And then we can also have, we can just ask the audience if there are like new people out there, hey, anybody wants to share a story or two, give them maybe like 3 minutes, 5 minutes or something like that. And
That'd be great.
That would be great.
if 4 people come up, that's 20 minutes. If everybody takes 5 minutes to share a story or something.
Or a panel or something like that. Maybe small panel.
So we got time to think for our next
Got
meeting.
some
Let's
time.
be proactive with thinking and come with some great ideas for the next meeting.
Okay. See.
Any other thoughts, comments? Tammy, I guess you'll let us know.
As soon as I hear back from her, if I hear
back.
during the meeting, I'll let you know. If not, I'll,
Don't crush our dreams over here, okay?
I already crushed the dreams of everybody riding on fire trucks, so.
For Daisy.
All right. Well, it looks like May will be April will have to finalize the survey, and so we don't have much more on the agenda. Do we want to invite Parks and Rec to April to?
We can do that.
And like budget stuff? I feel like that's always been kind of the question is, do we need to like just submit things as we think and then you give the approval, or is there a number that we have and then we work with that, or which is the?
It has to fall within my departmental budget unless it's something like that Parks and Rec or another department can help with.
All right.
So whatever creative ways we have to involve the departments is always a good thing. I love the idea of sponsors. I think that's fantastic, but I was looking, I was just kind of Googling like the world map, and it looks like there's several different options available on like Etsy and Amazon, and you know, we'll just have to work with Parks and Rec about, well, how do we, you know, mount them, or,
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
a
and,
sticker and put on the, you know, it's like,
right,
Okay.
right, yeah.
I bet the service department would be happy to help us. One of the carpenters would come up with something.
Right.
They're pretty good at stuff like that.
Yeah, so I think that'll be, you know, pretty easily doable to make that happen.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Next.
all right, last thing on here, at least, is the diversity in hiring. And you passed out something, Tammy, did you want to elaborate,
I
or
did.
just?
So we're transitioning to NeoGov for our applications and hiring. We've not fully implemented it for hiring yet. But I was able to run a report of the percentage of candidates by ethnicity, and as time goes on and we go live with the system, I'll learn more about how to run the reports. So, but this gives you a snapshot of our current applicant pool.
Okay. Thoughts, questions on this?
It does appear through NeoGov, and they advertise jobs through governmentjobs.com. It does appear that we're getting a larger variety of ethnicity of candidates, so.
I guess it'll be interesting just to track, like, this is February, you know, like, in the next year, will this, you know, is this a standard sample size, or is this, you know, unique in any way? But,
Right.
yeah, thanks for sending it.
Okay.
All right, any other unfinished business, new business, miscellaneous?
I have a miscellaneous.
Okay.
Only because I am new to the committee. I wanted to know, are there any guidelines as far as the committee attending meetings? I know I'm really serious about this, so are there any guidelines, like if you miss a meeting or anything like that, do we have any guidelines established for us as a committee?
Aren't these meetings taped?
They are recorded, so if a member misses, they can go back and listen to it or watch it. We do need to have a quorum in order to vote on things. I'm not aware of any attendance guidelines, though.
Just a question.
It's a good question.
Good question. Anything else?
I think so.
All right, so April, we will talk about the survey, and then we will do our best to finalize Family Diversity Day. That will be good enough. Okay.
Now, we did last year have the law director give training on open meetings and like public records. Is there interest now that we have more?
Yes, I would like that.
Okay.
I mean, I am a part of a board, you know, so but I can always do training, you know,
Okay.
so.
Yes, so I can ask Mr. Viziana to come to another meeting.
Okay.
And go over, because with us being a public entity, our open meetings requirements are different than like what private boards have to deal with, and sometimes it can make things more cumbersome, like having to do the planning on things, you know, in the public meeting.
Yeah.
But,
I like that idea. Thank you for
okay,
bringing that up.
I'll ask Mr. Viziana to come to the next meeting.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure.
All right. Right on the dot, look at that. 7 o'clock.
Ooh,
Hey.
Meeting is officially adjourned.
what a good.